Ah, yeah, that's right. This is the room that flashes. It's in here. So this room's flashing. Now, the 2600 could only handle so many sprites at a time, right?
2.
Yeah. So anything beyond that, there's got to be a certain amount of flashing so that things
And there's 2 sprites, and if there's nothing else in there, they'd be solid. But since they're flashing, something else has to be in there.
So there's a third sprite somewhere in this room, and we're going to go down here into this little secret passage.
And you can see that in this little chamber, there's no way to get in there. It's a little isolated thing.
Hides on the right side, doesn't it?
No, it's down the corner. I was just showing that there are walls here.
Cool.
So if we go down there.
There we are. And there, right there, see that tiny little dot off to the corner
well,
of
it's
the
1
little man.
pixel. It's the smallest possible object.
And so you take that, and this is actually a sprite graphic, not a ball graphic, because you needed the ball graphic to draw those walls down in the other part of the game.
That's right. It's a sprite graphics because it uses the same code, the same mechanisms that all the other objects use.
Okay.
There's no law against making a 1 pixel object.
And so there you've made it. So we got that. We're going to carry that back down to near the beginning of the game. And thank you very much. And using this, we're going to reveal ye old secret room.
But once you get out of the catacombs with the orange background, it'll be the dot is gray.
Right.
So you won't be able to see it unless you. One of my tricks is to.
Here it is.
Did you see it?
Yeah, there it is, right there. So it's the same color as the ground.
But if you move away, it's invisible in the normal room.
So you created this mechanism. What made you decide to use the invisible dot?
The bat won't steal it from you.
Yeah, it's not on the list, right, for the
No.
bat? Yeah. So what made you decide to go with an invisible dot here?
If you run into the bat, you might lose it.
Yeah, we don't want that. We'll avoid him. So we're carrying the invisible dot, and we come down here to this wall, and let's see.
Why don't you put it in down there where you can see that it's there?
Okay, there it is. Do I just drop it?
Well, then you won't be able to pick it up again, but maybe that
Okay.
doesn't matter.
Let's see. Do I need another object to make this work?
Yeah. Now drop it.
Now we drop it. And this object has to be in the room for this to work, the little invisible dot.
Mm-hmm.
We pass through the wall. Ah! Whose name's that?
There it is.
Created by Warren Robinett. So you hit this, and how'd you draw the graphics for this first? Are these playfield graphics, or how'd you do this?
Well, the thing is, you only had an 8-pixel wide. The graphics routine I had in Adventure would let you draw objects that were 8 pixels wide and an arbitrary height. So that's why it's vertical like this. I had to fit it into an 8-pixel width, but it's 96 pixels high.
And so you put this in here, and how long? Eventually somebody found this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll poke up here and see a different part of the map. So if we look north here, we can't actually go into the room, but we're peeking into another part of the labyrinth there.
Yeah. There's a 15-year-old kid in Salt Lake City who wrote a letter to Atari explaining with diagrams and maps showing exactly how to do this, what you just did. And that was the first Atari had ever heard of it, but that was after I had already quit.
Right, that was in 80, right? And
Yeah.
you left in 79.
Yeah. His name was Adam Clayton. I actually have the letter he wrote, because one of the guy who was assigned to find the offending code, when I came back 6 months later, he gave me a copy of the letter.
This is when you got back from Europe after taking the backpacking trip.
Yeah.
So you came back, he gave you a copy of the letter. That's funny.
Well,
and
because
the offending code, I mean, what was the internal, do you know what the internal response was? You weren't there. What did he tell you? Were they mad about it? Did they think it was funny? How was it received?
Well, it would have cost $10,000 to make a new ROM. So there was a cost to removing this. My expectation was as soon as Atari corporate found out about it, it would be removed. But there was a new manager of the game programmers by the time I came back a year later. Steve Wright was his name. And I wasn't around anymore to be punished. And so Steve Wright was sort of musing, and he said to himself, I think it's kind of cool to find little hidden surprises. It's like on Easter morning when you go out searching for Easter eggs. So Steve Wright coined the term Easter egg to mean hidden surprise.